We were getting ready to go for our run this morning, me and him, and he was like, "Dad, it's gonna be a pretty hard day for you, isn't it?" I was like, "Why, buddy?" He's like, "Because you won't get to see Stephanie all day." Yeah, you're right, buddy. It's gonna be a tough day.
I found him, right? And I was actually at a church, but the church is more like a concert venue. And he was running sound, so he was behind the sound booth. But he had a t-shirt on that said, "Career Goals, Ninja Actuary." So I went up and I kind of swam through the crowd to find him and talk to him. And we talked for a few minutes, and I encouraged him to apply for a job with the company I work for.
Weeks after I got there. So like 2 weeks after I got to the job that I landed with, she encouraged me to apply for. She was gone, and I was there, just working all alone. I don't know. With the team that was there, but we had met during that time.
Yeah. Well, they asked me before I left. They said, "This new guy that just came in, he's having a baby.
Right.
So can you throw a baby shower? Like, can you organize the baby shower?" And I said, "Sure." So, and that was the baby shower for Autumn, our oldest daughter now.
Daughter, yeah.
And so that's kind of, I don't know, we started to hang out then, and we've done a fair amount in our kids' lives before they were both of our kids.
Oh, yeah.
They grew up playing together, and we were friends for many years.
Yeah, about 14 years now, I think.
Right.
Yeah. I went over to work for Horizon, and she was a lot more senior than I at that time. Life happened for a long time.
And then there came a time where we were both single.
Yeah. She was pretty senior in the company, and I was reporting to her at the time. And I was like, as soon as that, I went to her office, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, he's too clingy, essentially." And I was like, okay. I thought, well, she won't be on the market for very long. I better take a shot. If I'm gonna ever take a shot, I better ask her out, okay? I knew she's like very serious about career, obviously. So I knew that if I went and asked her out without having it sorted with a company, it would never happen.
He said, I've been talking to HR, and I was like, what? I thought he was gonna quit.
I didn't plan that speech very well.
I thought he was gonna quit our job, and so I was immediately really worried. But then, he said, like, to take me out on a date, and I said yes.
Yeah, she did. I'm a bit of a Francophile, have been for a long time, pretty much always, and I always wanted to be fluent in French. I don't suppose I'm quite there yet, but I keep working on it. And yeah, I just love the general concept and culture and feel, and you did geography. France was high on the list of places that we wanted to check out. We found 2 places here that we wanted to consider for our wedding, and then we found a bunch in Scotland and in Ireland and England. So we organized a trip and did a tour of all the castles. It was 10 days, 8 different castles. So it was an intense run. The second place we came to was here, and we didn't really have a good feel for what to expect at all, because here they did it differently from everywhere else. So when we were gonna come in, Cynthia had said, "Oh, come stay with us here." We didn't know, when she asked that question, I didn't know if it was just an operating hotel, for example. But when we got here, it was just us in the whole place. It was just phenomenal. We didn't do that much that evening as far as touring the grounds or anything like that. They put out the whole meal. Alex made us, Alex and Anais made us food that we could consider to have served at the wedding. And the food was just, we were blown away immediately almost when we got here. And then the food was just so spectacular. Oh, we loved it. We sat there, we put on our own music to listen to. They were just so great. And we took all the chargers and the plates and the different silverware and shuffled them up to see what we wanted to have, which is what people ate out of. last night, you know, that arrangement that we came up with that night. And after that, I've been telling everybody this story, but after that, we kind of saw that there was a fire pit outside. So I mentioned that I loved fire pits just offhand, and minutes later, somebody was out there lighting up the fire pits, and so we went out and to the fire pits after that, and had some drinks around the fire pit, and we were just talking. And Brett, I was talking about how I usually play guitar, and Brett was like, "Oh, we have a guitar right here." So he went and grabbed a guitar, and we sat out there.
Magically is there when you want it.
And everybody, when they got done, all their stuff they had to get done here to finish up the evening, everybody came out to the fire pit with us. And so we had like 5 or 6 of the people were just here singing, playing music and singing and talking around the fire pit and talking about how life is different in different places and how it's the same in different places. And we had a truly phenomenal evening just getting to talk to the folks that work here, who are all, I mean, you know, I haven't met everybody, but like, been so phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, there's good salespeople if that's how they structured this. But, you know, it could be. I could imagine how it could be, but we've kind of sort of maintained those relationships with some of the staff people, even though we didn't get to talk to them in between. When we landed here and you know, saw them, we would run over and say hi, and now we know a few other names too. It's not just the 3 or 4 that were here for just us. You know, there's more people here now, so we've grabbed a few more names. You know, maybe it's just how everything is in life, but it just came down to we sort of established relationships here, and the other ones, venues we saw, what 6 or 7 of them, were probably spectacular locations, but we didn't really talk to people. They weren't open in a way to allow us to get to know them. And so even though I'm sure they could have offered a lot, the relationships were here.
I would say this is a beautiful location. Everything is done beautifully. Everything's beautiful, but we did see lots of beautiful places. And really, I think the reason that we fell in love with this particular spot was because the people here are so phenomenal. And it's such an unusual thing to have such a wonderful group of people, genuinely interesting, really wonderful at their jobs and passionate about what they do and also passionate about people. It's amazing. That's exactly the culture we want to create in our own company and in our own life too. But yeah, we work really hard to have that same kind of chemistry in what we do, and we really, really appreciate it when it's here.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people from really different places in this group too. So it's
most people did not know almost anyone when they got here.
We only knew, only 2 or 3 people actually knew each other. Yeah, before we landed here. No, we don't. And it's been every time we've had that, the times to sit down together and here in the castle for the wedding dinner and all that stuff. It's just felt really, really great and really relational. I don't know if it's a group of people. I mean, we love all those people individually as you know, in their individual groups or whatever, but it can be hard to mix people. I think that the context here and the way the staff folks are here facilitated the rest of our guests to integrate that same way. I really think that was a huge part of it, because I actually couldn't imagine people getting along like that as well.
I know, it's really great.
If I was to guess how it would play out, I wouldn't put all those people together. We have our different circles, and sometimes circles don't really mix that well. So I had no expectation that it was going to. And I can't help but think that the environment with the folks here being so personal, familial, you know. We've had spectacular weather, although I've heard that Cynthia plays a little magic with that. I was really nervous about, so when we got engaged, both of us cried like babies. So we had a photographer there who was gonna take pictures, and we saw the pictures and we discarded the pictures. They were awful. I mean, we were just ugly, crying like crazy. And I had about 4 words to say in that particular speech. So I knew that if I was gonna do that in the church, it would be very, very difficult. I didn't entirely hold it together, but
I think you
But I did get through it in the end. So the emotions leading up to that were kind of centric around that. You know, me and my dad and my son went outside the church to pray for our marriage, and before we went in, and I was definitely crying then, and I was like, ooh, man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to make it through. So I did a fair bit better than I thought I would.
Got all dressed up and rode over in the horse and carriage, and I was definitely had butterflies in my stomach and
the shoes.
And on my shoes too. And pulled around to the front of the church, and we're not going in yet, but there are all these townspeople out waving, and I don't know, it's just very much suddenly seeing these people I did not know that are there, and the church bells are ringing, and I kind of got a very sense of calm. I've been really mentally trying to prepare to not sob, as we had at the when you asked me to marry you at the proposal. But once I got there, I felt totally wonderful about all of it, and it was great. And we had talked a lot about walking down the aisle because my dad couldn't be here. And so what are you gonna do? Are we gonna have like my daughter walk me down the aisle, or my mom? And nothing really quite felt right. And then we kind of came up with this idea that we had gone through a lot in life, and we met together in our lives. We both came from kind of different places, and we are really partners. We've pulled things together many, many, many times in life already. And so we decided we'd meet in the middle of the aisle.
I like the proactive aspect of me going to get her. I like that better than the traditional. In fact, even though I'm fairly traditional generally in how I conceptualize things, but I really like that concept of going to get her and being part of that journey-ish of the ceremony. Yeah.
Our family is so incredibly important to us, our kids and our parents. And so one of the things that was really important to me was that all of those people were part of our ceremony in some way. So we kind of came up with this concept that we're gonna have everybody have vows for each other. So the parents started, and they vowed to support us and to help us. And then the kids also had vows in addition to ours. So we really wanted the day and that ceremony to be really important to every person in our family.
I mean, 4 kids is always a challenge, but
yeah,
yeah, they've been brilliant.
From the beginning, when we started dating, they were so excited. And in fact, in the video that he created to ask me to marry him, to propose, he started that video with a small clip that our kids had taken when we had only been dating a couple of months.
3 or 4 months or something, yeah.
And they were interviewing us.
Yeah.
They asked if we would get married, and we'd only been dating a couple months. So we kind of gave vague answers.
Yeah.
But they were very pushing that for the whole time. So it's been really, really nice that they really, I think, all want to be family. And his kids want me in their family, and I want his kids in my family, and Kate really wants to be in his family and have siblings.
Have siblings, yeah.
I hope very much that our kids will remember this day, this few days, this entire trip as a really magical experience. And that they'll look back, and when our girls are planning their own weddings, that they will, hopefully it's just as magical for them as this day is. But really and truly, that is not the magic of love. I really hope that they are able to look back at our lives together and see what love is. And if they think back of, oh, my parents and they're in love, they're not going to think of this day. I hope they don't think of this trip. I hope they don't think of us standing in front of the altar. I hope they think of all of the other moments, the small things, the big things, the sad things, and the wonderfully happy things that have happened where we were together. And I hope they think of us working through something really difficult together and celebrating the victories of all the people in our family together. Having the kids understand that this is magic, but it's not the magic that lasts forever. My excitement was totally overshadowed for the actual day and the ceremony by my excitement for life together, and the fact that this was just the start of life together. I'm glad that it was an amazing ceremony, and it was a wonderful night. Everything was just
all bonuses.
Beautiful. But those were definitely bonuses. It's not the wedding that is the thing. It's the love, it's the relationship and the marriage for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. I think I would just say the kids, we're so happy to have them, and we're so proud of them.
Yeah, it was great.